Once the shelter at Grace House is opened, we'll have safe sleeping accommodations for up to 40 women and men who are experiencing homelessness in Kingsport. In addition to the bed spaces that we have, we'll have laundry facilities, showers, and access to hygiene items. So all of the folks who come in and spend their nights with us will have access to those basic needs and have those things met here. In addition to that, the folks staying here will be required to work with our service providers downstairs in our day center. So they'll be expected to work with case management and the other services that we have in the day center. Yes, when we're at full capacity, there'll be 20 beds for men, 20 beds for women. When we do open on day one, in the beginning, we are going to open at half capacity. So we will first open with 10 beds for women, 10 beds for men. And over the weeks that follow, we'll increase up to full capacity. But given that we are a brand new shelter, new organization, we want to be smart about how we are opening. And so we're going to phase that opening and again, start at half capacity to make sure we have all the kinks worked out before we are at full capacity. So our shelter is intended to be low barrier. And what low barrier means is that we have as few entry requirements as possible to encourage folks to come in and participate in the services that we have. So we will be checking sex offender registry checks. There is a church across the street, so we do have to make sure that we are checking that to be good stewards to our neighbors around us. So we will have the sex offender registry checks. They will not be permitted into the shelter, but folks who might be struggling with mental health or substance use, we will make a bed for them. If there's space here, we'll open our doors to them. We do know that if we don't allow those folks in our doors, how else are we going to reach them? So, if someone arrives at our door looking for a bed one night, and if they seem intoxicated, as long as they can make their way to their bed and they can lay down and go to sleep without causing trouble for any of the other guests in the shelter, we will make a room for them. We'll make a space for them. So folks do have to check out the next morning, but it's not a full checkout. So once they come in, their bed is theirs. We do an initial assessment at 14 days. And so after 14 days, if it's determined that they have not been participating in the services downstairs, they're not doing the things that the case manager asked them to do, then we would invite them to go. And then we would make that bed available for someone else who would be potentially willing to come in and do the things that the case management is asking. If at the 14-day assessment, it's determined that they are doing the things that they need to do and they are working with the case management and the other services, then we would extend that stay 30, 60 days, potentially even longer, depending upon their particular situation and what the progress is that they're making. We have been very fortunate with the support of the community, and so we have funding in place where we feel comfortable moving forward, but funding is always a need in nonprofits. Folks can make a contribution to Grace House through our website, which is kpthm.org/donate. You can make online donations there, or there are instructions on how to mail a check to us. There's also information on there about named giving opportunities. So folks who might be interested in supporting Grace House with a large contribution, there are opportunities there to have various spaces throughout our building and our property named in memory or honor of someone. So folks can check that out on the website and then reach out to us if they have an interest in that. So being a shelter and a low barrier shelter, we have to have adequate staffing in place at night. It would be irresponsible to the community. It would be irresponsible to the folks who come here to stay if we didn't have adequate trained staff in place. To cover a span of 4 p.m. to 8 a.m., that's a 16-hour span. So it will take 2 employees per night to cover the night shift. We will also have some additional security personnel who will cover a portion of the evening. And so when you think about what that will require, it will take about 4 employees, a mix of full-time and part-time, just to cover the night hours. Okay. Our day services center is also expanding. It's still, the final renovation tasks are being wrapped up as we speak. And so we have some additional support staff that we need in our day center. So we've got our day center receptionist hired. We have extended offers to 4 folks for the night monitor positions. So we are very hopeful that we've got our staff in place. And now our focus is shifting towards getting them trained as soon as possible in the variety of things that they would need to be trained in. In September, our board of directors set a very ambitious target of November 15th. And we have been working very hard over the last 2 months to try to hit that target. And unfortunately, we almost got there, but we weren't able to get all the way there. And we know that the community is disappointed. And believe me, our board and our staff, we too are disappointed. We would have loved to have opened our doors last Friday, but we simply were not ready. And again, it would not have been in the best interest of the organization nor the folks that we serve had we opened last Friday. Our board of directors and myself, we've had conversations about when a potential open date could be. There have been a few dates that have been tossed around, but in order to make sure the next date we announce is the date, they do want to wait until we get our training schedule for our staff finalized, and to make sure we've got the last couple little renovation tasks finished before we put that date out into the public. We need help. If the community wants our doors to open as badly as we want them to open, please come down and help. We have put calls out for volunteers in the past, and we will continue to put calls out for volunteers. So please tune into our social media. If you have not signed up for our newsletter list, you can do that. We send volunteer needs out through that. But we have, to get our doors open, we will have a big push here at the end to do some cleaning. And then we need lots of help moving large furniture, desks and things like that into place, couches, other large items. And those are things that are difficult for the staff that we have, and our board of directors, many of whom are older. It's a difficult thing for us to do. So